Well, good afternoon and welcome back to the YouTube channel of Old Bloke Crypto on May the 8th, 2024. After a month of sabbatical and a bit of driving around the country, seeing the sights, doing a few different things, back into it today and to check out the charts, see where they're going, see what the trade opportunities present to us, and it's going to be very interesting, as always, in crypto land and in the weeks and months ahead. So, as I say in the little graphic here, and I'll show you what I mean on the chart shortly. ETH appears to be playing table tennis, or as we used to call it years ago, ping pong. Back and forth, tight but temporary range. And I say temporary, and I mean that. So let's get into the charts and show you what I mean and how to trade it. So let's get into the chart properly, and we're looking on the daily view here. The last made a YouTube video about a month ago, as I was just saying. So we're looking here at back in early April, around about here. And as we'll see, since that time, look at the range it's been forming. And you've heard me say that markets like to stay in a range most of the time. Trending is nice, like we had here. It was lovely to ride that trend and make some nice profits along the way with our trades. But you'll see here, we've got a range happening here, just like we had a short-term range here. So what are we going to do with this? Well, as you'll see, there's lots of spiking to the upside, spiking to the downside, or what is also called wicks. Now, what that means is that there's opportunity there. So it means that price is volatile. So it's coming up. And these wicks, what they represent is liquidity grabs, essentially. So the big boys playing games and taking the liquidity off the little fish and saying thank you very much for over-leveraged, undercapitalized traders. So you'll see here we're currently sitting just over the $3,000 mark for ETH. And you'll see as I've marked out these, and I call it a temporary range because it will break out sooner rather than later. You range low and you range high. So really, really simple. Comes down and touches with these wicks down near to the range low or to the range high. You can trade it if you're a short trader, long trader here, short trader there. Now, for me, who is, again, very bullish on ETH for a number of reasons I've talked about in previous videos, despite what the doomsayers may say. And remember, I trade against the US dollar, not against Bitcoin, which is very strong comparatively at the moment, and we'll talk about that shortly, is that I'm looking for longs. So I am just waiting for when price comes down towards this temporary range low before I commit to a trade. And what do? Well, when I keep it really simple, when I get to the round number, which markets love round numbers, around the $3,000 mark, in this case, we're pretty close. We tap that, I'll add to my long position. We tap down to 2,900, I'll add to my long position. 2,800, I will add to my long position. And I don't expect price to go any lower than that. And one of the reasons is, you'll see this yellow line here, the 200 EMA, very, very strong support. And you've heard me talk about that and the 50 and the 21 in previous times. But it has held for the last 6 months. And held strongly, price strongly above the 200 EMA, apart from these approaches for liquidity grabs and then tremendous buying support, come back in and off it goes again. So you see it way back here as well as an example. And so I won't go into great detail there. You can check it out yourself, the 200 EMA on the daily. So what I'm looking for, again, if it comes back down here, I will add this morning back into the game. I've added around the $3,000 mark. I think it was about $3,020 that trade. And as I said, 2,900, I'll add more. 2,800, I'll add some more. Just building up that high time frame position. And just for reference on that previous chart, I was talking about liquidity grabs, and we're in that tight range. And this is an example. And you'll see on these. This is one of my favorite charts here that I regularly use. You'll see these green size 3 bubbles here indicating a liquidity grab is happening and then a reversal. That's exactly what's happened. Prices come up and you would close out. You had a low time frame long here, closed out. Thank you very much. And prices then continued to come back down. And then just today, look at this cluster of red size 3 liquidity bubbles indicating that this move to the downside is over or largely over. If you were taking a short, you would close out that position and then see what happens to price after it. Price is just sitting around here, around this daily low at the moment. But certainly if you were shorter, which I'm not, you would have closed this position indicating that the trend is likely to reverse in the coming hours. And when you look at the indices, again, crypto is not immune from those. You'll see that Here's our Ethereum price sitting at 30.18 at the moment. The VIX is down, S&P's up, Nasdaq's down a fraction. The Dixie's hardly moving. Dow Jones is up a little bit. Again, there's been a lot of this, not much happening in recent times when I backtest the data. So the market's very much equivocal, a lot of sidewaysness at the moment. It's not pushing crypto in any particular direction. And as I see that Uncle Jerry kept interest rates the same as expected just the other day, again, the market is sort of waiting for some big catalyst. In the meantime, it's just chugging along, bouncing along between, as I said in the graphic, the table tennis game, back and forth in between these levels. So again, if you're prepared to be patient and wait, then like I am, you can just add to your long position when it gets down here to the temporary range low and wait for it, as you could do here, and just wait for it to move back up. Liquidity bubble signal, time to get out. Thanks very much. Take your profit. And looking at funding rate, and doesn't that tell the story? I mean, it's reset across the board. It has been reset for basically the last month while I was not making videos. This goes back to the 8th of April. This funding rate chart is for a month's time. And you'll see that over the course of that month, there has not been anything very exciting. Currently, Bitcoin's 10%, Ethereum's 8%. I think they got down about 7 and 6% respectively this morning. So again, a lot of traders sitting on their hands waiting for the market to make a move. But you can benefit if you want to stay and play ping pong in this tight range, as exampled by these liquidity bubbles. You can certainly do so and make some good coin. You don't have to bet the farm on it, but you can just play the game the way the big boys play it and take your profits when the time is indicated, when the market signals that it's about to reverse. It's as simple as that. And these are the liquidity bubbles I use. You might have different indicators that you use, but these are the ones that I do and that I profit from. And while I'm here, let me say that none of the videos I make are financial advice, and please hit the like and subscribe buttons and the notification bell to be notified of future videos. So next, after the funding. And I mean, this really portrays it well as well. You're going back here. This is on the 3-day chart. Look at all these levels. These yellow is as it gets towards the yellow, you'll see up here, we've got the more liquidity sitting there for the whales to grab, and the market manipulators, as I call them. Look at this as an example there. There was 900 odd million just there. So you see it's going up. It's coming into these yellowish, greenish, yellowish lines, taking them out, coming back, taking out some more people who decided they're going to play games with their market makers. And then as they go sideways, waiting for liquidity to build up either side, and then thank you very much, come back down. Remember that table tennis game? Thank you. And back down again. And you've still got this liquidity here that hasn't been grabbed. So price, it's close. You're always looking at the liquidity that is closest. And you'll see here, it's close just below the 3,000. So I won't be surprised if overnight Australian time, there's a grab for that liquidity. 29.86, let's see if it does. And comes down, could even come down a little bit below it before reversing to the upside and heading towards this liquidity to the upside. And if you remember that range that I was talking about, there you go there, that 27.91, about $100 below that that liquidity band that I was talking to you about just a minute ago. There you go. It could even come down as far as that. I don't expect it to tag that. But again, that's an indication. Comes down, bounces, comes back up towards the range high again. And again, it hasn't tagged that range high more than once, but it could get close. And those liquidity bubbles will trigger before we get to that point when the time comes when the market's getting ready to reverse and go back down again. So that's an example. That's a confluence of what I was just showing you. Let's have a look at King Bitcoin here. And again, you'll see here, looking at our EMAs, and this is an example, you'll see just very, very simply, we are sitting below the 50 EMA, the light blue line, and above the yellow, that's strong support for Bitcoin, just like Ethereum for many, many months, sitting above that. Now, currently, the 200 EMA is at 626. Yes, it could get down there. Absolutely, it could. If it does, or approaches, expecting strong support, strong buying support at that level. But you'll see it's currently sitting below the 50 EMA. So again, there's more likely to be more downside coming before it reverses, but you just have to watch what the market manipulators are doing and whether they decide that there's enough liquidity down here to grab it and then reverse to the upside. So very indicative of where the market is at the moment. Indecisive, waiting for more downside, but you just got to be ready to play the market the way the big boys do, and that is follow the liquidity. So in summary, and I'll share these trades when I close them out, waiting for price to continue on down to this towards this range low, which could well happen in the next 12 to 24 hours, not necessarily hitting that range low, coming down towards it, more around the 2,900 rather than the 2,800. Then when the price starts to reverse to the upside and head towards that range high, I'll be looking for exit triggers from my liquidity bubbles saying that the market makers have had their fill and about to reverse. So I'll close that trade out then. That's the low time frame trade anyway. But as I said, adding to my high time frame, overall looking at the weeks and months ahead. But in the meantime, we will play the ping pong game just like the big boys. We will play them at their own game and take the profits when they're on the table, or dare I say the table tennis table. Dad joke there, to be taken. So have a great trading day, trade safe, trade within your means, and I will talk to you next time.